My in-laws spent 6 years raising my sister-in-law's kids. Then my father-in-law had a stroke and lost movement on one side. Without even asking me, my husband brought both of his parents home from the hospital. Then, over dinner, he casually told me to quit my million-yuan-a-year job and stay home to care for them. I said nothing about quitting. Instead, I took a new assignment and flew to Shenzhen the very next day. If they thought they could outsource their family duty to me, they were dreaming. The second I opened the door after work, something felt off. The air smelled faintly of disinfectant mixed with medicated oil. 2 pairs of old-fashioned cloth shoes sat by the entrance. As I changed my shoes, my husband, Zhou Ming, walked out of the bedroom. "Wonking, you're finally home." Dad had a sudden stroke. He can't control the right side of his body, and the doctor says he needs at least 7 months of rest. Linlin's twins are a handful, so she can't spare the time to care for Mom and Dad. I brought them here for now. As he spoke, he reached for my laptop bag, his tone almost suspiciously casual. "There's something we need to discuss. Quit your job. With things like this, someone has to stay home full-time and care for my parents. You're attentive and good at looking after people. You're much better suited than I am." Zhou Ming's eyes practically sparkled, as if he'd made some heroic, devoted son decision. All I had to do was obey, and everyone would praise me as the perfect wife and mother. The bedroom door was open, so I saw everything. My father-in-law, Zhou Jianjun, lay propped up in bed, staring blankly at the ceiling. My mother-in-law, Zhang Xulian, sat beside him with the confident look of someone already expecting to be waited on. My hand froze on my coat, and 6 years of buried anger shot straight to the surface. "Quit my job to care for your parents. Did you forget I'm the company's operations director? Headquarters already has me lined up for next year's promotion. Forget quitting. I can't even get 20 days off." The smile vanished from Zhou Ming's face. His brows tightened and he slipped into his impatient lecture mode. "What's more important, your job or my parents' health? Lin Wanqing, stop being so selfish. Lin is raising 2 5-year-old boys on her own. She handles everything. How could she possibly care for our parents too? It's just the 2 of us here. What's wrong with quitting and caring for them for 7 months? Besides, what good is all that money you make? A woman's priority should be her family. I earn 7,000 yuan a month. Isn't that enough to support you?" I let out a cold laugh and stared straight at him. "Zhou Ming, our mortgage is 13,000 yuan a month. Your 7,000 doesn't even cover it. I pay the other 6,000 plus the property fees, utilities, and parking. So how exactly are you supporting me? With your mouth?" I shut him down so hard his face changed color. Still, he stiffened his neck and argued back. "That's only my base salary. I also have a housing fund and a year-end bonus. Besides, Dad got sick from helping Linlin with the kids. She said she'll give us 2,500 yuan a month for living expenses during these 7 months. 2,500 yuan? I almost laughed. My mother-in-law had spent 6 years as Linlin's unpaid nanny, worked herself into high blood pressure, and even triggered her husband's stroke. Then they dumped both of them on me like unwanted baggage. My sister-in-law tossed over 2,500 yuan like spare change, and my husband acted as if she'd made some grand sacrifice. Just then, Zhang Xulian came out of the bedroom. She sat stiffly on the sofa, wearing the full authority of an offended elder. "Lin Wanqing, I know you're busy, but look at us. As our daughter-in-law, taking care of us is simply your duty. I always said women shouldn't be out there chasing careers. What good is that little bit of money? Staying home, supporting your husband, and raising the children, that's the proper path. Listen to my wonderful mother-in-law. When I went into labor with my daughter and my water broke, I called her from the hospital. Oh, Linlin's pregnancy with the twins is really hard. She needs me. You're young and healthy. You'll manage on your own." But Linlin wasn't suffering from morning sickness at all. She had booked a trip to Xiamen with her friends and wanted her mother there to babysit her 2-year-old. After my C-section, I could barely move from the pain. My daughter cried all night and Zhou Ming was on duty at work. I held that baby alone and cried until sunrise, without even a bowl of hot soup. Back then, she never said caring for family was my sacred duty. Now that someone had to handle every messy detail, suddenly duty was her favorite word. I took a deep breath and forced down my anger. With someone like Zhou Ming, if you talk logic, he talks family. If you talk reality, he talks morality. Blowing up on the spot would only turn into another useless fight. Fine, they're already here. We can't exactly send them back. I said it calmly and turned toward the study. I've been in meetings all day and I'm exhausted. I'm going to handle some work. You all eat first. Zhou Ming thought I'd surrendered. A victorious smile spread across his face as he turned to Zhang Xulian. "See, Mom, I told you Wanqing was sensible? Of course she'd agree." Zhang Xulian curled her lip and spoke just loudly enough for me to hear. "You spoil her. Back in my day, a disobedient wife like that would have been sent packing by her husband's family." The study door shut, cutting off their nauseating conversation. I didn't work. I sat at the desk and opened an email that had arrived 10 minutes earlier. It was from headquarters. The South China market had been underperforming, and they wanted me to take full control of a 7-month turnaround. Hit the KPIs, and I'd return as vice president with a 50% raise. I'd been unsure before, but after hearing those 2 outside planning my life like a business deal, I set down my phone and smiled coldly. Care for my in-laws? Your parents? Your responsibility? You want to outsource being a devoted son to me? Keep dreaming. I opened the closet and started packing. To avoid making Zhou Ming suspicious, I only took a 22-inch carry-on. I packed a few outfits and my important documents. Everything else went straight to my Shenzhen hotel through my assistant. About 40 minutes later, Zhou Ming walked in. The second he saw me packing, his brows pulled together. "Lin Wanqing, what are you doing? Didn't we agree you'd quit and stay home with my parents? Where are you going with that suitcase?" I'm not running away. I'm resigning and I still have to follow company procedure. I have 4 projects to hand over properly, or they won't release me. These clothes are going to the dry cleaner. They've been sitting so long they smell. Seriously? You're not just looking for an excuse to disappear, are you? Joming, your dad is this sick. Where would I go? Besides, Linlin is paying that massive 2,500 yuan. I should make sure she gets her money's worth. I'll go in early to hand everything over and try to be back by noon to cook for your parents. The way I said massive 2,500 yuan sounded a little strange to him, but my attitude seemed sincere, so he relaxed. Then he wrapped an arm around me and started making empty promises. Honey, I knew you were the most caring wife. Just get through these 7 months. Once Dad recovers, I'll take you to Bali and make it all up to you. Great. Then I want an overwater villa and that watch I've been eyeing forever. Done. Whatever you want. Joming agreed instantly. Empty promises are free after all. After dinner, I quietly cleared the dishes, turned off my morning alarm in the kitchen, and messaged my best friend and assistant, Chen Shui. Tomorrow morning, play along with the whole act. Don't give anything away. Before bed, Joming kept eyeing the suitcase by the door. Still uneasy, he secretly took my car key and put it in his nightstand. He thought I hadn't noticed, but I saw everything in the bedroom mirror. He was afraid I'd changed my mind and wanted to block my escape. Too bad he didn't know I had a spare key. That night, Joming slept like a rock, snoring loud enough to shake the walls. I barely slept at all. I kept planning the divorce. The idea hadn't started that day. It had grown with every disappointment. He missed our daughter's birth. He ignored me when I was sick. His family kept draining me to support his sister, and his only answer was always, "They're my mom and my sister. What can I do?" Forcing me to quit was simply the final straw. At 5 a.m., before sunrise, I slipped out of bed and put on a sharp business outfit. Joming rolled over and mumbled, "Honey, what time is it?" "It's still early. Go back to sleep. I'm heading in to hand over my work. I'll be back soon." My voice was as gentle as ever. Half asleep, Joming murmured an answer and rolled over. I picked up the suitcase, took one last look at that home full of petty schemes and endless drama, and shut the door without hesitation. At the airport, I checked the time. Joming should be waking up soon. I sent him a message. "Honey, headquarters just called. The Shenzhen branch had a major operations crisis, and every senior manager has to go immediately. If I refuse, I'll be fired for skipping work and held responsible for the losses. It happened so suddenly, and my battery is almost dead. I'm boarding now. You'll have to take care of your parents for 3 days." After sending it, I turned off my phone. As the plane lifted into the sky and the city shrank below me, I felt a rush of freedom I couldn't even describe. Ming woke to frantic pounding on the door. Ming, your father needs water, hurry up." Zhang Shulian shouted from the bedroom while banging her cane against the floor. Ming opened his eyes, still half asleep. Wanking. Dad needs water. Go pour him some." The room stayed silent. No one answered. Annoyed, Ming sat up and rubbed his sleepy eyes. The other side of the bed was empty. He looked at the clock on the nightstand. 8 o'clock. That woman doesn't need to leave this early just to go to work. Ming grumbled and dragged himself out of bed. The moment Zhang Shulian saw him, she started yelling. "You useless boy, you sleep like a log. Are you trying to let your father die of thirst? Where's that lazy wife of yours? Is she still sleeping? Get her up and make her take care of us." Fighting his bad mood, Ming poured his father water and tried to explain. "She went to hand over her work so she can resign. Mom, be patient, she'll be back by noon." After finally helping his father drink and bringing his mother hot tea, Ming picked up his phone and immediately saw my message. "What? Shenzhen and her phone's dying?" His hand shook as he called me. "Sorry, the number you have dialed is currently unavailable." Ming called twice more, but only got the same cold, automated voice. He rushed to the entrance and found my slippers neatly in place. The suitcase supposedly full of dry cleaning was gone. Then Zhang Shulian shouted from the bedroom. "Ming, I'm hungry. Where's breakfast? Your father wants millet porridge cooked until it's creamy, plus soup dumplings from downstairs." Ming checked the time on his phone. It was 8:30. He had to clock in at 8:50, and even with zero traffic, the drive took 45 minutes. "Where is that brat Lin Wanking? Get her back here to cook for me. Her in-laws are sick, and she still has the nerve to run off? Call her now, or I'll call your sister and tell her how her brother is mistreating his own parents." The second his sister Zhou Linlin was mentioned, Ming's headache doubled. If Linlin found out he couldn't control his wife and had left their parents without care, he'd lose the little respect he had left in his own family. "Enough, Mom. I'll call one of her co-workers and ask what's going on." Ming finally remembered my best friend, Chen Shuo, and quickly found her number. She picked up almost immediately. Her voice sounded rushed, with keyboards clacking and printers running non-stop in the background. She was clearly buried in work. "Hey, Ming. I'm completely slammed right now. Wanking just boarded her flight. You know the Shenzhen office is in crisis. The CEO said anyone who refuses to go is fired on the spot and could be held responsible for over 4 million yuan in project losses. Wanking begged to take leave so she could care for your parents, but the CEO tore into her. He said if she took time off now, her career in this industry was finished. No matter how much she pleaded, he wouldn't budge." "It's that serious?" "Absolutely." Ming, cut Wanking some slack. She's only trying to keep her job, especially with that huge mortgage hanging over you. "Sorry, gotta go. The boss is calling. Bye." The call ended, leaving Ming completely stunned. He turned toward the bedroom and looked at his helpless, furious parents. After one deep breath, his vision nearly went dark. He knew he wasn't making it to work today, and if I didn't come back, every day after this would be pure hell. Meanwhile, I was stretched out in a spacious first-class seat, sipping orange juice from the flight attendant and watching clouds roll past the window. I thought to myself, Zhou Ming, Zhang Shulian, the show is just getting started. You wanted to guilt trip me? Fine. Now you'll learn what it feels like when your own scheme blows up in your face. When the plane landed in Shenzhen, I turned on my phone. Dozens of messages popped up, all from Zhou Ming, plus a 70-second voice message from my sister-in-law, Zhou Linlin. I pressed play. Linlin's tearful voice came through, dripping with smug judgment. Sis, you're in the wrong here. Mom and Dad went to your place to recover and be cared for. How could you dump them on my brother? He has a secure government job. He can't stay home taking care of people all day. Come back now. You can always find another job, but losing his position would follow him forever. Listen to that. A secure government job. Zhou Ming was just an average office worker who spent half his day slacking off, yet she talked like his job was sacred. Meanwhile, I earned 10 times his salary as an operations director, but apparently my career was disposable. I gave a cold laugh and didn't reply. Instead, I posted a status update with a photo of the Shenzhen branch's impressive office tower. The caption read, "Called in during a crisis. No turning back. For this family and for Dad's rehab costs, I'll fight to keep this job even if the odds are 1 in 10,000. Honey, I'm counting on you at home. You're the best." After posting it, I hid it from every relative in the Zhou family and made it visible only to Zhou Ming. If I was going to put on a show, I might as well go all in. Let's see how long he could wear that devoted family man crown. The humid sea breeze in Shenzhen felt unbelievably fresh. Back at the hotel, I took a hot bath, put on a face mask, and opened the surveillance app on my phone. Yes, surveillance. 7 months earlier, I discovered Zhou Ming had secretly taken our money to pay Linlin's credit card bill, so I hid a tiny camera inside an ornament on the TV stand. I meant to catch him mishandling our finances. Instead, it had become my private live stream of the Zhou family's reality show meltdown. The feed loaded. The living room was a disaster. Takeout containers covered the coffee table, and dirty socks were stuffed into the couch. Zhang Shulian sat there pounding her legs and wailing. I'm starving! Look at the time, I can't even get a hot meal! What did I do to deserve this? I raised a useless son and he married an ungrateful wife. Zhou Ming shuffled out of the kitchen in an old apron, drenched in sweat and carrying a bowl. Mom, stop yelling. The porridge is ready. He dropped the bowl onto the coffee table, barely holding back his anger. Porridge again? Zhang Shulian gave it a disgusted look. I want black chicken soup. The doctor said Janjun needs proper nutrition. Food, 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 that's all you think about. Mom, do you have any idea what caring for you has cost me? My boss yelled at me 4 times today. I left 3 hours early and lost my attendance bonus. Then I came home to cook and clean up after both of you. I'm a person, not a machine. Oh, listen to him. Jinjun, open your eyes and look at your precious younger son. He thinks we're nothing but a burden. I might as well be dead. Mom, I'm sorry, okay? I'm not saying you're a burden, I'm just exhausted. This is all Lin Wan King's fault for abandoning us here. I let out a cold laugh and took a screenshot. Watching Zhou Ming panic and rage helplessly on screen finally eased a little of the resentment I'd carried for 7 years. And this was only day 1. His good days were just beginning. I closed the feed and sent Zhou Linlin a message. Linlin, I just arrived in Shenzhen, and everything here is chaos. I'm so busy I barely have time to drink water, but I can't stop worrying about Mom and Dad. I looked it up, and Dad's stroke recovery needs more than rest. He needs nutritious food and professional rehab exercises. Zhou Ming is careless and can't cook, so I'm afraid your parents will suffer. Could you put the twins in daycare for 3 days and help out? Or maybe Zhou Ming could hire a professional caregiver for them. It was the perfect way to redirect the pressure. Sure enough, less than 3 minutes later, Linlin called Zhou Ming. Through the camera, I heard every word. Linlin, please convince Wang King to come back, or come help me yourself. I can't take this anymore. Linlin's voice came through the speaker, wrapped in fake concern. Zhou Ming, it's not that I won't help. The twins need me constantly, so how could I leave? Wang King went to earn money and we should support her. A caregiver won't be as attentive as family, and you know Mom's temper. They just get yelled at. You're their son. Caring for your parents is your duty, so stop complaining. But Linlin, what about my job? They docked my pay today. If this keeps up, I'm going to lose it. So, you lose a little money. What's the big deal? Wang King makes plenty. Mom and Dad getting healthy is what matters. I'll send you the 2,500 yuan at the end of the month. Money's tight right now, and I can barely afford formula for the twins. Anyway, one of them is crying. Bye. The call ended. Zhou Ming stood frozen with the phone in his hand. Zhang Shulian had heard everything, but instead of defending her son, she immediately made excuses for her daughter. Your sister is right. Linlin is raising 2 grandchildren for our family. She's done more than enough. You're a man. You're strong. What's wrong with doing a little extra work? Zhou Ming hurled his phone onto the couch, crouched on the floor with his head in his hands, and let out a hopeless growl. I burst out laughing on my hotel bed. Zhou Ming, that precious sibling bond you were so proud of, fell apart the second money and responsibility entered the room. The next morning, I headed to the branch feeling completely refreshed. At lunch, I ordered an expensive seafood platter, took a photo, and posted it where only Zhou Ming could see it. The caption said, "Work is exhausting, but I'm saving for Dad's rehab, so I treated myself to one good meal. Honey, you're working so hard at home, you're amazing, the perfect husband and the perfect son." Zhou Ming called almost immediately. I ignored him 4 times before answering, deliberately sounding out of breath. Hey, honey, what's wrong? I'm in a senior management meeting. I had to sneak out to answer. Lin Wangking, how can you still sit there eating? His voice was hoarse, like he was still boiling with rage. Dad had an accident in bed. He won't let me clean him up. He insists his daughter-in-law do it. Come back now, I'm done. I can't live like this. I pretended to be shocked. How could Dad act like that? You're his own son. When you were little, your parents cleaned up after you. Why can't you return the favor now? Be patient, honey. Maybe Dad is testing how devoted you really are. Testing my ass, the whole house stinks. Lin Wangking, I'm ordering you to buy a ticket home right now, or we're getting divorced. Zhou Ming had finally played his trump card. In the past, the word divorce might have terrified me. Now it sounded like music, but I couldn't leave yet. Divorcing him now would set them free. I wanted him trapped in that house. I wanted him and his family to tear each other apart and taste every bit of misery they'd put me through. I instantly put on a shaky voice. Honey, don't scare me. I want to come home too. But head office said if I leave now, I'll owe the company 4 million yuan for breaching the project contract, and they'll blacklist me in the industry. Where would we get 4 million? Sell the house? The second he heard 4 million and sell the house, Zhou Ming went silent. He cared more about appearances than anything. That house was the only thing giving him status in front of his relatives. To him, it was everything. Then what are we supposed to do? His voice softened, almost helpless. I can't keep taking time off. My boss gave me a final warning today. If I miss work again, he's reporting me to HR. How about this, honey? I offered sweetly. Let's hire a caregiver. Mom may hate having strangers around, but it's better than you losing your secure job. Tell your parents I paid top dollar for a professional rehab caregiver who specializes in stroke patients. They'll love that. How much would that cost? Come on, what's a little money when it's for your parents? I just got a project advance. I'll send you 7,000 yuan for now. Use that first, and I'll figure something out if it's not enough. I really did send him 7,000 yuan. Sometimes you have to spend money to set the trap. If I gave him no solution, he might quit caring for them and dump his parents back at Zhou Lingling's place. Then the whole show would be over. I needed him stuck at home, watching with his own eyes just how fragile his precious family bond really was. Sure enough, once Zhou Ming got the money, he stopped talking about divorce. Instead, he complained that I hadn't offered the cash sooner. After hanging up, I smirked. 7,000 yuan for an all-purpose live-in caregiver who could handle a half-paralyzed senior, cook, and clean? The going rate started at 13,000, and even then, good caregivers had options. 7,000 would get him a cranky part-timer, or someone tough enough to put up with anything for the money. As expected, Zhou Ming tried to save money. Instead of hiring a certified caregiver through an agency, he went to a labor market and found Auntie Li, who looked quiet and honest. They agreed on 7,000 yuan a month with room and board. Naturally, he pocketed whatever was left. That night, I saw the new caregiver on the security camera. Auntie Li was tall, broad-shouldered, and clearly strong. She also spoke her mind. Zhou Ming handed the whole house over to her like he was unloading a problem, then hid in the study to play video games. At first, Zhang Shulian still put on airs and started ordering Auntie Li around. Hey you, get me some water warm, exactly 42 degrees, not too hot, not too cold. Zhang Shulian took one sip and spat it out. Are you trying to burn me? How am I supposed to drink this? Then, out of habit, she tried to smash the cup on the floor to show who's boss, just like she always did with me. But she forgot one thing. This wasn't the daughter-in-law who swallowed every insult for the sake of the family. Auntie Li reacted fast, caught the cup and slammed it hard onto the table. The bang was louder than Zhang Shulian pounding her cane. Auntie Li said, "Listen, ma'am, I'm here to work, not be your punching bag. The water is 42 degrees. Don't want it? Stay thirsty and quit throwing things around. You break it, you pay for it." Zhang Shulian froze. She'd bullied people her whole life and had never met anyone like this. You dare talk back? I'll have my son fire you." Her pointing hand was shaking. "Go ahead. I get paid by the day, so hand over today's 260 yuan first. And your husband isn't completely helpless. One side is weak, sure, but I just saw him pull his own leg back. Don't use paralyzed to scare me." Zhou Ming, get out here! This crazy woman is bullying me to death!" Zhang Shulian screamed at the top of her lungs. Zhou Ming had headphones on and was fully locked into his game. He heard nothing. Only after Zhang Shulian grabbed the ashtray and hurled it at the study door did he storm out, visibly annoyed. "What now? Mom, can you please stop for 1 minute?" "She's bullying me! Make her leave!" Zhang Shulian sobbed, gasping between tears. Zhou Ming turned toward Auntie Li, but before he could speak, Auntie Li struck first. "Boss, I can't do this job. Your mother is impossible. First the water's too hot, then the vegetables are dirty, and now she wants foot rubs and massages. I'm a caregiver, not a massage therapist. I don't want the money. Pay me, and I'm leaving." The moment Zhou Ming heard she was leaving, he panicked. Without Auntie Li, he'd be the one taking care of them that night. No, please, ma'am. My mom is old, she's sick, and she's in a bad mood. Don't take it personally. How about I add another 400 yuan as an attendance bonus? Only then did Auntie Li reluctantly stay. After that clash, the power balance in the house quietly shifted. Auntie Li realized the man of the house had no backbone. Over the next few days, the whole vibe changed. "I want fish, steamed. The fish at the market wasn't fresh. It's cabbage and tofu, take it or leave it. I need to use the bathroom. Hold it until I finish this episode." Zhang Shulian kept complaining to Zhou Ming. To avoid a blow-up, he tried to play both sides or simply stayed late at work and refused to come home. Watching her go from loud and domineering to furious but silent on camera felt unbelievably satisfying. What do you call that? Sometimes it takes a bigger bully to tame a bully, but I knew it wouldn't last. Zhou Ming's patience had limits, and Zhang Shulian and Zhou Lingling could explode at any moment. That fragile balance finally shattered one weekend night. It was the 5th birthday of Zhou Lingling's twins. Every year I used to take time off, buy gifts, and cook a huge meal at her house. This year I wasn't there. So naturally Zhou Lingling turned to Zhou Ming. Bro, it's Hao Hao and Xuanquan's birthday. Mom and Dad are already with you, so bring them over and we'll celebrate together. Bring that caregiver too. She can cook dinner for the relatives. Zhou Lingling gave the order over the phone like it was perfectly reasonable. Zhou Ming was already sick of the tension at home. The second he heard he could eat at his sister's place and leave his parents there for a few hours, he agreed. But he forgot. Auntie Li wasn't me. That night, he took his parents and Auntie Li to Zhou Lingling's house. I couldn't see the cameras inside Zhou Lingling's home, but the flood of angry voice messages Zhou Ming sent later painted a perfect picture. The story apparently went like this. Zhou Lingling ordered Auntie Li into the kitchen to cook for 20 people. Auntie Li answered, "My contract doesn't say I cook at other people's houses. Want me to do it? Pay extra 2,200 yuan per table." Zhou Lingling's husband sarcastically said Zhou Ming had hired a queen. Embarrassed in front of everyone, Zhou Ming started arguing with Auntie Li. With her temper, Auntie Li flipped the table on the spot and called Zhou Lingling's whole family freeloaders. The birthday dinner fell apart, and Auntie Li quit immediately. She also demanded half a month's pay for the emotional stress. Zhou Ming paid her, got chewed out by his sister and brother-in-law, then had to carry his immobile father and drag his furious mother home. That night, he called me 35 times. I didn't answer once. The next morning, I casually sent him a message. "Honey, I worked through the night and passed out from exhaustion. I heard Hao Hao and Xuanquan's birthday didn't go well. Don't be too upset. Good news, my project is going smoothly. It should wrap up in about 5 months. Hang in there. Once I'm home, I'll take excellent care of your parents. Lin Wangking, spare me the act." Zhou Ming sent a voice message. His tone was ice cold. "That crazy woman took every cent I had. I'm broke. Dad's rehab medicine is gone, and you need to send me 60,000 yuan right now. Otherwise, I'll make a scene at your company. I'll come to Shenzhen and find you." There it was. The mask finally slipped. This was exactly what I'd been waiting for. I smiled. I replied, "Honey, how can you say that? Haven't you had my salary card this whole time? All our savings are on that card. How could you be out of money?" He did have my salary card. But the morning he forced me out of the house, I'd already used mobile banking to move the entire 250,000 yuan into a new account and reported the old physical card lost. The card in Zhou Ming's hand was nothing but useless plastic. 6 minutes later, Zhou Ming's calls started flooding in again. This time I answered. "Lin Wangking, why is the card empty? It says insufficient funds. Did you move the money?" "How could that be?" "Honey, calm down. Maybe the bank system is having issues, or, oh my God, what if the card was compromised? That money was for Dad's rehab and the down payment on a bigger house. Go to the bank and check, now." "Don't play dumb." "What am I playing dumb about?" "Zhou Ming, I worked myself to the bone for that money. If it's gone, I might as well be dead. I'm calling the police right now. I want them to find out exactly who touched that money." The second I mentioned the police, Zhou Ming got nervous. He had secretly taken money from the family before and given it to Zhou Linlin. Altogether, it was well over 100,000 yuan. He knew one police investigation could expose everything, and panic set in. "Wait, don't call them. Maybe I remembered it wrong. I'll ask the bank again." After hanging up, I stared out at the glittering Pearl River skyline and slowly swirled my wine. "Zhou Ming, you have no money, no help, a half-paralyzed father, a mother with a vicious temper, and a sister and brother-in-law who only take. Let's see how you survive the next 5 months." Night fell. Zhou Ming's stomach growled, and Zhang Shulian kept complaining that she was hungry. Then his phone rang. It was the HR office. "Zhou Ming, you have repeatedly missed work, left early, and handled personal matters during working hours for over a month, seriously damaging the company's image. Management has decided to terminate your employment. Come in tomorrow to hand over your duties." The call ended. A text from the power company immediately popped up on his screen. Power notice. "Dear customer, account XXX has insufficient funds. Your electricity has been disconnected. Please make payment promptly." Zhou Ming looked toward his apartment complex. Every window in the building was glowing except his, which sat pitch black like a bottomless hole. He stood on the cold street, clutching his dead phone. He had only 42 yuan left to his name. No job, no money, his wife gone, and a bedridden father waiting at home. A freezing gust swept past and Zhou Ming shuddered. Meanwhile, in my Shenzhen hotel, I checked 2 new alerts. One was from my smart home app. Device offline, power disconnected. The other was from my bank. Card ending in XXX received 600,000 yuan, first project bonus. I raised my glass and lightly tapped it against the moon beyond the window. "Sweet dreams tonight, honey." That night, Zhou Ming felt his way home in the dark. The elevator was shut down over unpaid fees, so he had to climb all 23 floors. When he opened the door, there was no warm light, only deathly silence, darkness, and a nauseating mix of odors. "Dad, Mom?" Zhou Ming called out cautiously. His voice echoed through the empty apartment. A faint groan came from the bedroom, followed by a cane tapping the floor. "Zhou Ming, why are the lights off? Are you trying to make your father fall? I'm starving." Using his phone's weak flashlight, Zhou Ming found his parents curled up on the bed. Their old arrogance was gone. Their cloudy eyes made them look abandoned. "Mom, the power's been cut." Zhou Ming collapsed onto the floor and pulled a crushed plastic bag from his coat. Inside were 2 cold steamed buns, bought with part of his last 42 yuan. The rest had gone toward bus fare. "This is all we have, eat." Zhang Shulian felt around, grabbed a bun, took one bite, and spat it straight out. "It's hard as a rock. I won't eat this. I want meat. I want soup. Where's Wang King? Where did that useless girl go? Make her come back and cook for me. I want soup." At that moment, all the humiliation, anger, and despair Zhou Ming had bottled up finally exploded. He snatched away the saliva-covered bun. Wang King, that's all you ever say. She's gone. She abandoned us. We're living like sewer rats now. No money, no power, no job. If you'd rather starve, don't eat. More for me." In the darkness, Zhang Shulian froze at her son's terrifying expression. After a long pause, she burst into tears. To stay alive, Zhou Ming began selling the furniture. First the TV, then the refrigerator, then the washing machine. The family had officially hit rock bottom. At last, his loving sister Zhou Linlin showed up, not with help, but with a so-called brilliant plan. She walked in and saw a nearly empty apartment with only a sofa and a bed, plus her gaunt brother and hollow-eyed parents. For a second, she thought she had the wrong place. "Bro, did you get robbed?" "Robbed? We sold everything for food." Zhou Ming lay weakly on the floor. "Linlin, if you don't lend me some money, we'll literally starve tomorrow. Loans are for emergencies, not endless handouts. This can't continue. Lin Wanking clearly wants to ruin you. If she's going to play dirty, so can we. I have a friend at a TV station, the one behind that popular family mediation show. Let's go on TV and expose her." "Go on TV? I don't know. Family problems shouldn't be aired in public. We're nearly dead and you're worried about embarrassment? Wanking is a senior executive. What scares her most? A ruined reputation. We'll go on TV and say she abandoned her husband, ignored her sick in-laws, and took every cent. Public outrage will pressure her company to fire her, and she'll have to pay us to settle the whole thing. We're going. I want the whole country to see that woman's true face. I'll make her so notorious she can't show herself anywhere. Fine, let's go to the station. I'll destroy her reputation." Zhu Linlin moved fast, or maybe family mediation shows simply loved this kind of outrageous drama. Within 3 days, the producers contacted Zhou Ming. Their direction was simple: look miserable. The more miserable, the better. Zhou Ming had to play the honest husband crushed by a domineering wife. Zhang Shulian had to act like a devoted mother who raised her son through hardship, only to be mistreated by her daughter-in-law. Chu Tianjun would sit in his wheelchair and complete the tragic picture. While they rehearsed their sob story, I received a call from the show. Phone in hand, I looked over Shenzhen's glittering skyline and smiled knowingly. "Zhou Ming, you really walked straight into your own trap." I had been wondering how to end this in the most satisfying way. Instead, you built the stage yourself, and even invited the audience for me. I agreed to appear and hung up. Then I immediately called Chen Shui. "Zhu, book me a flight home for Friday. Also contact the law firm that works with our company. I want lawyer Wang, the one who specializes in divorce cases." On Friday, the production team dimmed the studio lights to make everything feel more dramatic. On the left sat Zhou Ming, wearing faded old clothes and trying to look honest and helpless. Beside him was Zhang Shulian, wrapped in thick blankets in a wheelchair and looking close to death, with Zhou Jianjun slumped nearby in another chair. Zhou Linlin sat behind them as the angry family supporter. The right side of the stage was empty. That seat was for me. A well-known female host opened the show in a grave, solemn voice. "Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's episode of Family Mediation." People say family duty comes first. But today's guest, Mr. Zhou, says his family is facing a devastating crisis. His father suffered a stroke and is partially paralyzed. His mother is in poor health, yet his wife supposedly left for work for 7 months, took all the family's savings, and nearly left the 3 of them to starve. Is this cruelty or a complete moral collapse? Please welcome the accused wife, Ms. Lin Wanking. The door slowly opened and the spotlight snapped on. Zhou Ming expected a broken, guilty, timid Lin Wanking. Instead, out walked a polished executive in 4-inch heels, flawless makeup, and total command of the room. The moment Zhou Ming saw me, he instinctively shrank back, a reflex built from years of depending on me financially. Zhang Shulian immediately switched into full drama mode and started wailing the second she saw me. "Wanking, you heartless woman, you finally decided to show your face. Look what you've done to us." The host quickly handed her a tissue, asked her to calm down, then turned to me with a stern expression. "Ms. Lin Wanking, your mother-in-law and husband accuse you of refusing to care for your sick in-laws, hiding assets, faking a business trip, and even trying to drive them to their deaths. How do you respond?" I sat gracefully on the sofa, placed my briefcase across my knees, adjusted my posture, and finally picked up the microphone. My gaze slowly swept across the 4 clowns opposite me. Then I looked at the host and gave a faint smile. Explain myself? I don't need to. I'm here to deliver the verdict. Before this mediation begins, I'd like everyone to watch a few videos and listen to a few recordings. After you see this, if anyone still thinks I'm the one at fault, I, Lin Wanking, will walk away with nothing and cover every cent of my in-laws' eldercare expenses. The second I said that, the whole studio erupted. Zhou Linlin sensed something was off and tried to stop me. "Quit playing games. You're just trying to make yourself look innocent." Why so nervous, sis? The best part is still coming. I pulled a USB drive from my bag and handed it to a staff member. Please play this. The big screen flickered, then came to life. The first clip was security footage from the night Zhou Ming tried to force me to quit my job. It captured every bit of his entitled attitude. Zhang Xulian, a woman shouldn't be out chasing a career. Serving us is your duty. Whispers rippled through the audience, then the second clip began. It was a recording of Zhou Ming and Zhou Linlin plotting over the phone, synced with the security footage. Send her the diagnosis and tell her that if she doesn't pay, she's leaving him to die. Say the surgery costs 250,000 yuan. So what? It's for Dad's treatment. What's wrong with asking for a little extra? The studio went dead silent. Zhou Ming turned ghost white and lunged for the USB drive, but security stopped him. It's edited! It's fake! I ignored him and signaled for the video to continue. The third clip showed Zhang Xulian yelling at Auntie Li with plenty of energy. When Auntie Li raised a cup and pretended to throw it, the woman who supposedly couldn't manage alone sprang off the couch, dodged it, and hurled a cushion back. The irony was impossible to miss. She needs full-time care, please. She's quicker on her feet than I am. So she was faking it for money. She faked being sick to scam money? This whole family is shameless. This isn't mediation, it's a fraud case happening live. When the video ended, I shut off the screen, stood up, pulled a thick stack of documents from my briefcase and slammed them onto the coffee table. These are my bank records. Even while I was away, I still paid the 13,000 yuan mortgage every month, and I even transferred Zhou Ming another 7,000 yuan for so-called living expenses. As for Zhou Ming's claim that I had hidden assets, I gave a cold laugh and looked at the man trembling like a leaf. Zhou Ming, did you forget? The money in that salary account came from years of me working myself to the bone. Your paycheck barely covered your own spending, yet you secretly used my money to support your sister, well over 100,000 yuan in total. Was I wrong to move my own premarital savings and salary? I walked toward Zhou Ming, each click of my heels sounding like a funeral bell inside his chest. You tried to use the media to corner me and public opinion to destroy me. Too bad you picked the wrong target. I'm Lin Wanking, and I've never been anyone's pushover. Zhou Ming, today's show isn't about fixing our marriage. It's my special divorce gift to you. I pulled out the final document, a divorce agreement already drafted, and slapped it against his chest. Sign it or I'll see you in court. Then divorce will be the least of your problems. Forged medical records, attempted fraud, defamation, and a recording of your sister encouraging the scheme. I'm handing all of it to the police. Zhou Ming stared at the weighty agreement in my hand, then at the audience pointing and whispering, and finally at the cameras filming him non-stop. He collapsed into the sofa. He knew he'd lost more than his marriage and money. He had burned through every last shred of dignity and every possible way out. Zhou Ming looked at the stack of solid evidence on the table, then at the sharply dressed lawyer walking onto the stage behind me with a stern expression. I had hired attorney Wang specifically for this. He was famous for never losing an argument. Mr. Zhou, the fraud was unsuccessful, but the amount was substantial and the circumstances were serious. If Ms. Lin presses charges, you could face up to 3 years in prison, and the sister who encouraged you won't be walking away clean either. Zhu Linlin had been sitting in the back, ready to enjoy the show. At those words, she shot up like her seat was on fire. That's a lie! I did nothing! Zhou Ming did it all himself. It has nothing to do with me. I came here to make peace. Linlin, you told me to do it. Zhou Ming stared at the sister who always claimed they were inseparable. Now she was trying to shake him off like something stuck to her shoe. You're framing me! Where's your proof? Zhou Linlin sounded tough, but panic was written all over her face. I smirked and pressed play. So what? It's for Dad's treatment. What's wrong with asking for a little extra? Her own voice rang through the studio again. Zhou Linlin went pale and dropped into her chair. I turned and looked down at Zhou Ming. Zhou Ming, you have 2 choices. 1. Sign the divorce, walk away with nothing, and give me the house as compensation for the emotional damage and years of mortgage payments. You also keep the unpaid property fees, utilities, and every debt you took on. 2. Refuse to sign and I call the police. You can reflect on your so-called devotion from a prison cell. With a trembling hand, Zhou Ming picked up the pen. He stared at the divorce agreement as if it were a contract selling away his life. Lin Wanking, after all our years as husband and wife, do you really have to be this cruel? He looked up with tears in his eyes, crocodile tears. When you left your own father helpless in bed, when you schemed against me for money, and when you used fake medical records to scam me, whatever love we had was already gone. Sign it, I don't waste time and my time is expensive. Under the audience's disgusted stares and the camera's close-ups, Zhou Ming shakily signed his name and pressed his fingerprint onto the agreement. In that moment, I felt lighter than ever, as if a mountain I'd carried for 7 years had finally collapsed. After filming ended, I ignored the production team's request for another interview. I didn't stay to watch the family tear each other apart backstage. I simply left the station with my lawyer through the VIP exit. Outside, the night breeze in my hometown felt unusually cool. Attorney Wang smiled at me. Ms. Lin, nicely done. I'll handle the property transfer and every remaining procedure. You won't need to see him again. Thank you, Attorney Wang. I took a deep breath. It was time to celebrate my new life. But the Zhou family's nightmare was only beginning. Once the episode aired, Zhou Ming became famous for all the wrong reasons. His former employer had already pushed him out, and his comments about fraud and abandoning his parents destroyed his reputation throughout the public sector world. No respectable employer would touch him. With no house, no job, and no money, Zhou Ming had nowhere to go except his sister Zhou Linlin's home, bringing his disabled father and mother with him. But Zhou Linlin was no pushover. She had nearly been dragged into prison because of the show, and her husband absolutely hated Zhou Ming. That night, Zhou Ming reportedly pushed his parents' wheelchair to Zhou Linlin's home and knocked on the door. She came out swinging a broom and drove them away. "Get lost! You two bring nothing but trouble. Haven't you ruined our lives enough? Hao and Zhuan are being mocked at school for having a scammer uncle. Stay away from my door." The door slammed shut, leaving Zhou Ming and his parents stranded on the street. Eventually, the community office stepped in and forced Zhou Linlin to take her parents back. She hated it, but to avoid public shame, she put them on a balcony packed with junk. Without my money and without Zhou Ming caring for them, their situation was easy to imagine. Zhou Linlin wasn't me, and she wasn't Auntie Li. She was ruthless. She fed them leftovers, never bathed them, never turned them in bed, and cursed them out whenever they made the slightest sound. Meanwhile, Zhou Ming was buried in debt and couldn't find work, so he ended up delivering food. I left the city at sunset, with everything washed in gold. Sitting in a taxi to the airport, I watched the scenery race backward outside the window and felt no attachment at all. My phone buzzed. Headquarters had emailed me. My appointment as vice president was finally official. I replied with a confident emoji, "Ready anytime." Then I put my phone away. I studied my reflection in the taxi window. The timid Lin Wanqing, who had sacrificed herself for family and worn herself down between marriage and her in-laws, had died in that house full of garbage and lies. The woman sitting there now was a new Lin Wanqing. I finally understood that a woman's worth isn't measured by whose wife, daughter-in-law, or mother she is. It comes from knowing who she is herself. You can't outsource devotion to your parents, and you definitely can't outsource your own life. Only when you hold enough cards, money, status, and ability can you confidently tell the world no and kick away anyone or anything trying to drag you down. The plane lifted off and climbed through the clouds. Looking down at the tiny city below, I broke into a bright smile. "Goodbye, Zhou family. Hello, my new life."